are swept away and 20 houses completely damaged. Now, that is a disaster. As a result of that disaster, we've taken a decision that I'm cutting my trip here, which was supposed to move from South Sudan to Niger. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll catch the flight, which is almost the first flight coming back home. And I will be home on Tuesday morning. And I will proceed to Jakarta to see what is happening. But what I would like to remind, not journalists, but society at large, is that this disaster is a proof that judges must revisit the judgment I gave on Jakarta. Judge Beckley and Judge Kruger gave a judgment that DPS is the owner of the dams. Number two, the decision of the Department to grant licenses to other applicants was rescinded. And thirdly, that the MPRD provisions do not apply to tailing dams. And when this judgment was given, we were convinced that it was wrong. We're still convinced that it is wrong. And the legal successor to the minister was responsible at the time. I think we should take over the responsibility and pursue this matter because it is a disaster indeed. That is what we're here. We're going to come back and join the team that is there. Our team is already in Jakarta. The acting minister, Minister Kubai, may visit that place and he will feel free to do so. The DG and the DM are going tomorrow morning to the place. So hands on to this issue. On Tuesday, I will join that team. I'm not talking to the media to send an impression that I am centralizing things. I'm just declaring that because of this disaster, I'm cutting the trip short and come back home to be part of management of this disaster. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Through you, Minister, I think we can allow a few hands for any clarity-seeking questions before we then adjourn this session. Members of the media, I think this is an opportune time for you to raise your hands for any clarity-seeking questions that you would like to put to the minister. Okay, I see two hands for now, Minister. Can we then take these two hands and then
Yes,
we'll decide on way forward thereafter. First, Nonkululeko.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nonkululeko from Daily Maverick. Minister, could you please repeat the numbers? I missed just the first bit of your address in terms of the houses that were swept away and the number of bodies that we recovered. Thank you.
Okay, can we go to Mobile?
Hi, Minister Ngobile Dludla from Roses. Minister, just for clarity, so this dam, so who is exactly the owner of it? As I understand that it was the mine was sold by De Beers in 2010. So who is the current owner, njengamanje? And then also, can you maybe just give us some kind of whether it's just color or clarity really on the impact on the humans and the environment of the substances that are in this dam, because I would assume that they are toxic and whatnot. I mean, what impact are you expecting here? Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Those are the two hands we have now.
Okay. Let me repeat the numbers. It's a preliminary report. It's not concrete numbers, but the preliminary report indicates that 28 people with minor injuries, there are 4 people who are in hospital and very critical, and there are 3 to 5 suspected casualties. And that means the report as fatalities. So that is still to be verified. 9 houses have been swept away and 20 houses have been completely damaged. That is, those are the numbers. The judgment that I referred to, as I was talking to, was that, okay, Mobile, is that the ownership of those dams was ring-fenced by the judgment by Judge Beckley and Judge Kruger, and declared the department as having no jurisdiction over those dams. But the issue is that it was the owner at the time was DBS, and therefore the judges said that is belong to DBS. So DBS had the responsibility and the right, without interference, to sell it to anybody. They have sold it to what is called Super Colomb Consortium, which is a consortium that bought those dams in 2010. Super Colomb Consortium. And the decision was that the department cannot grant licenses to other people because it is a property of a company. The MPRDA provisions, therefore, do not apply to tailings dams. So that is the judgment. But it would be irresponsible of us to close our eyes and hide behind this judgment. We are fully engaged on how to facilitate a resolution of that crisis that we were confronted with in Charlotte Fontaine. And the main announcement was that I'm also cutting my trip short.
Thank you, Minister. Nonkululeko, I would like to assume that is a legacy hand. And can I ask Garth and Alan to please mute whilst we continue with the session? Mobile, your hand also came up and went down. I want to assume it is a legacy hand. Unless you have a follow-up question. I see no further hands, excluding that of Archie. Are there any other hands, colleagues? I see no further hands, Minister. I would like to take Archie Pachadi.
Thank you so much, Pelan Pachadi from Newsroom Africa, Minister. In an event that you find that whoever the owner is of these particular dams and preliminary investigations find that the owners should take responsibility, what kind of action could be taken against the owners?
I find it difficult to hear you, Archie, but I hope the Minister was able to get that question. Minister, you're muted.
He's spoken from underground.
Archie, I assume you're on the road. Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, I'm on the road, definitely. I'm just asking, let's say once you understand the full ownership of the mine, who it is, and so on, taking consideration, of course, the judgment and as well as whatever other considerations that the department will take, what could be the possible precautions for the miners, consequences for the owners of the mine after investigations?
Okay, okay. Nonkululeko and Ngobile, your hands are still up. Do you have follow-up questions? Nonkululeko? May not be there, Ngobile.
Yes, the minister forgot to answer my impact question on this is what kind of impact can we expect on the people and on the environment, given that the substances in these dams are toxic.
Okay, Nonkululeko
Okay.
is back?
Okay.
No. Minister?
Okay. Actually, obviously, this is not the first disaster of this kind that we're facing.
All right, that is a briefing there by Minister Gwede Mantashe. He's been talking about the disaster that has occurred in Jagersfontein and just giving us what he's calling a preliminary report of that incident. The minister seemingly not in the country. I don't know this for a fact. I must state that outright. I say that because he says he's catching the first flight back home. So that gives you an indication of where he is and his intentions to respond to that situation in Jagersfontein. The minister giving a number of figures that are at play at the moment. He says 28 people suffered minor injuries. 4 people, in the words of the minister, are quote unquote very critical. They're in hospital. Between 3 and 5 is the number of suspected fatalities. So what we've been reporting is 3 people that have died, but the minister signaling that that number could be up to 5 people that have died. 9 houses swept away, and he says 20 houses completely damaged by that flooding when that dam burst its walls. And also the minister going on to touch a little bit on the legal issues around who owns that mine dump and the circumstances. Basically, he says this was subject to a court judgment that had said and indicated, according to Minister Mantashe, that ownership was ring-fenced of the mine as well as the dump, and it was declared that the department has no jurisdiction over that, over the dumps, and the judges said that belonged to De Beers. De Beers sold that to a consortium known as Super Kolong. That's as far as we have the details at the moment, the minister signaling that he will be returning. These are important questions, of course, that have to do with should there be further investigations, who will be held accountable? Who will be accountable for this dam that we have been told, we were told in the last hour was actually built about 10 years ago.